You know, we see them everywhere. In our kitchens, in our lunch bags. They're just bananas. But what if I told you there's some seriously surprising science hiding just beneath that yellow peel? Today, we are going to peel back the layers on this everyday fruit and find out what it's really doing inside our bodies and our brains.
So let's start with this question. Can 2 bananas a day keep the stress away? I mean, it sounds a little too good to be true, right? Can a couple of pieces of fruit really make a dent in your daily stress? Well, that is the exact question we're going to dig into. And trust me, the science behind it gets way more interesting than you'd think.
All right, so a team of researchers over in Japan decided, you know what? Let's take this simple idea and actually put it to the test. They wanted to find out if eating bananas consistently could actually measurably change how stressed out healthy adults feel. So here's how they set it all up. They got 20 healthy volunteers. Now 13 of those folks, they were our banana group. Their job? Eat 2 bananas every single day for 2 weeks straight. The other 7 were the control group. And the whole time, the researchers were measuring everything. Stress hormones, mood, and even what was going on in their gut.
Now you might be asking, why the gut? Well, it's because of this incredible thing called the gut-brain axis. I want you to think of it like a super busy two-way highway that runs directly between your stomach and your brain. It's a constant conversation. So what happens in your gut does not stay in your gut. It sends signals straight up to your brain, and that can totally influence things like your mood and your stress levels. And that right there is the key to this whole thing. Okay, so 2 weeks go by, the banana eating is done, the researchers take all the data, and they start crunching the numbers. And what they found at first was, well, honestly, it was kind of a letdown. It really didn't look like anything had changed at all.
Take a look here. This first chart compares the banana group to the control group. We're looking at the big stress hormone, cortisol. And as you can see, there's basically no difference. The results weren't statistically significant, which is just a sciencey way of saying the change was so small it could have been random chance. So case closed, right? Bananas don't do anything for stress? Well, not so fast, because this is where the story gets really, really interesting. The researchers decided to dig a little deeper.
They started looking at the individuals in the banana group, and they noticed something fascinating. The participants had split themselves into 2 totally different camps. For about 54% of them, something was definitely happening. We'll call them the effective group. But for the other 46%, not so much. All of a sudden, this hidden story started jumping out of the data.
And this chart illustrates it perfectly. Forget the control group for a second. This is looking only at the people who ate bananas. Look at that effective group on the right. Their cortisol levels took a nosedive compared to the ineffective group. Now that is a real, measurable reduction in a major stress marker. And you know, it wasn't just cortisol. For this effective group, about half the people, the good news was just everywhere. Other stress markers went down, their gut health markers improved, their heart rates actually slowed down, a clear sign of relaxation, and they even said they felt better. Less tired, less angry, more energized. So the thinking is, for these people, the bananas were improving their gut health, and their happy gut was sending chill-out signals right up that highway to the brain.
I mean, that's a pretty fantastic result, right? But, and you know, there's almost always a but in science. When we look closer at what makes a banana, we run into a pretty big potential problem. A catch. And that catch is all about potassium. We know bananas are loaded with it, which is fantastic for most of us. But if you happen to be taking certain very common medications, especially for high blood pressure, suddenly adding a ton of extra potassium to your diet can be a genuine concern.
We're talking about a class of drugs called ACE inhibitors. They are incredibly common. You might even know someone on them. They work great for high blood pressure, but one of their known side effects is that they can make your body hang on to more potassium than it normally would. So you can see the potential problem here, right? It raises a really important safety question. If you're on a drug that makes you retain potassium, and then you start loading up on high potassium bananas, could that cause problems? Could it even stop the medication from working properly? Well, thankfully, another group of scientists decided to investigate just that. So let's bring this all together. On one hand, we've got this potential for stress relief. On the other, a totally valid medical concern. So what's the real bottom line on bananas? Okay, now it is super important to point out that this next study was done in rats, not people, but the results are still really informative. They gave rats with high blood pressure either an ACE inhibitor by itself or the drug along with banana. This table shows how much their blood pressure dropped, and as you can see, the numbers are all in the same ballpark. It didn't seem to matter much whether they had the banana or not. This suggests that the banana didn't really get in the way of the medication doing its job.
So here's where we land. It really is a story with two sides. On one side, you have the promise. For a good chunk of the healthy population, eating bananas regularly might be a super simple way to help your gut and maybe even lower your stress. But on the other side, there's a really important precaution. If you take ACE inhibitors for blood pressure, that extra potassium is no joke. You absolutely have to talk to your doctor before you start eating 2 bananas a day.
And it just goes to show you, even with something as simple as a banana, the science is full of twists and turns. The answer isn't just a simple yes or no. It depends on your unique body, your health, and maybe even on questions we haven't answered yet. Like, does it matter if the banana is green or yellow? It's just a fantastic reminder that in the world of nutrition, there is always more to discover.